Are you the kind of person who loves meeting new people, making every step an adventure, and embracing whatever comes your way? If so, you might be a Sanguine Pilgrim, aka the Joyful Wanderer. Hi, I'm Jen, and this is my Camino Temperament series, where we talk about how your unique design can impact how you plan, walk, and reflect upon your Camino to Santiago. If you don't know your temperament yet, you could follow along on this and see if Sanguine fits what you think your personality type might be. Or you can actually take the free Camino Temperament Quiz in the link below and find out for sure, and that might be a slightly more fruitful way. But also, all 4 temperaments are interesting, and so please do watch all of them and see what commonalities you might find. But for today, we're going to be talking about the Sanguine Pilgrim. If you watched my intro video, you might remember that I talked about temperaments as a way that we respond to stimuli around us. And so the Sanguine Pilgrim is someone who has, like the choleric, quick and intense responses to things, but then it doesn't last very long and it doesn't lead to a sort of heightened sense of excitement. It's like quick and fast and everything is fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that means in terms of your strengths and your challenges, and then how you can use that knowledge to be a little bit more purposeful in experiencing your Camino. So let's dig in. So the Sanguine Pilgrim has some really wonderful strengths for the Camino experience, particularly one that involves meeting a lot of people. So the number one strength of Sanguines is that they tend to be social and outgoing. They make friends easily, they thrive in community. These are the people who you probably most often hear really looking for and longing for having that Camino family. They want to have a group of friends that they have made on the Camino that they can walk with and share the experiences with. They tend to be naturally optimistic. The challenge is just part of the adventure. It doesn't bother them. They're not huge planners. They are flexible and spontaneous, and so it's not a big deal if things shift or something comes up during the day or there's a new suggestion from a new friend. They tend to seek adventure and make choices in the moment. Those are all really wonderful things on a Camino experience where you really don't know what's coming from day to day. Sanguines really have a good fit for walking the Camino. If you are active on some of the Camino forums or Camino Facebooks, you might notice Sanguines in the comment sections tend to be the people who are like, you need to do a little bit of planning, but you really could just throw in a backpack and go. Or that they are most excited about meeting new people, or they're not the ones worried about meeting people. They are the ones who are excited about meeting people. They tend to be really enthusiastic. If they have already walked a Camino, they love to share stories about what they learned and who they met. So they're kind of easy to identify in the forums as well. In terms of what challenges might come up for some Sanguine Pilgrims, they might be overcommitted to socializing. That might be the primary thing that they're doing, which is, again, a wonderful aspect of the Camino, but the Camino is also something I think I've said before where it really does bring you face to face with yourself, and that's not always a comfortable thing, but it does mean that you actually need some time to reflect on and process that, and so it can be a challenge for Sanguine Pilgrims to take that time, so you need to be a little bit mindful about allowing moments where they can actually reflect a little bit upon all of the things that they're learning and all the people that they are encountering and all the lessons that are coming along. Sanguine Pilgrims also can have a hard time sticking to a plan. So often they don't have much of one, so it's not a huge deal, but it's not the driving force behind what they're doing on a daily basis, and so they may or may not manage their time well. This is something to watch for, particularly in situations like making sure that you make it into town before everything closes for siesta, or making sure that you don't forget that albergues close at like 10 p.m. and you can't get back in if you're still out having dinner with friends. So they need to be a little bit aware of some of the times and plans around them that are necessary. They also have a risk of burnout. They have a lot of activity and excitement, and so it's not just the walking that can be exhausting, it can be all the engagement with other people around them. Like, it's just sort of constant. That's what they're looking for, so it's not like they aren't used to having a lot of stimulus, but the Camino is a special situation, and you are around a lot more new people than you might normally be, and so again, it's important to kind of remember to take a moment to pause and reflect and actually rest. In terms of that for the Sanguine, I would just say to remember that it's okay to take time every day when you are walking alone or walking in silence. Maybe that's first thing in the morning, you start off quiet and then kind of build. Or it's pretty normal in terms of post-walking albergue experiences that some people will go off and do some reflection. Other people might be chatting and going over the day. And you can decide which one you want to do, and you don't have to do the same thing every day. But there are spaces within your day to build in some reflection time. And so I would just encourage sanguines to be mindful of that, because as a phlegmatic, I also don't necessarily build in a lot of reflection time. What kept me grounded was that I was writing a blog. And so I had time every day where I sat down, or most days, not every day, but where I sat down and was sort of writing out my experience for others. And that helped me reflect on it. So that could be something. So that actually is a tip for things that could help you thrive. Planning time for connection, so you don't feel pressure to always connect at every moment, but you could say, oh, when I stop at a cafe in the morning for my coffee, I'm going to make sure that I sit with new people and chat, or I'll chat with the people I've been walking with that morning. But just that cafe time is talking time. Like, you could set that, and that would be a good goal. Also, scheduling moments of solitude. So making sure that you have that kind of built in. And again, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be for very long, but allowing yourself and reminding yourself that it's okay to be alone on the Camino, because you never are actually alone. So just consider something like having silent walking mornings, like start your day in silence and kind of see where that takes you. And then having a little bit of structure, right? So this does not mean that you have to have everything planned out, but it does help you give a sense of forward motion that's measurable and not just about how many people you met that day. So sketching out a couple stages, but also being flexible to taking advantage of new ideas or suggestions from the new friends that you're meeting along the way. Having an adjustable plan, I think, might be useful for you. But all of that leads me to one practical tip for the sanguine, which is I encourage you to try planning one day to walk in silence. That doesn't mean you can't say buen camino to people who pass you, but just being purposeful about not listening to music, not having the sort of random conversations, just being purposeful in taking the day to really experience the world around you that is not necessarily about the other pilgrims, but that is about what's going on internally that is coming up because you are moving externally on the Camino. That's just to give you some space. Again, it's not an everyday thing. It doesn't have to happen very often, but if you haven't ever done it before, I would encourage you. That is something interesting. So on my first Camino, I had headphones with me. I did not use them at all until the final maybe week or two. And even then, I purposely never used them while walking. I was very conscious that I wanted to be experiencing the moment. I did end up using them a little bit in the evenings if I needed to just sort of rest, or if I was overstimulated from other people, I could put them in and listen to a few things. But I really do think that helped me engage more with my Camino was to actually not have something in my ear all the time. And I actually trained that way because I didn't want to train during walking with music or books and then miss it on the Camino. Like, I wanted to know I was able to walk with no input. But actually there's a lot of input, let me tell you, when you are walking on the Camino or just in your neighborhood. There's a lot going on. Just a practical tip, I would say. Just try a day in sort of quiet solitude and see what happens. So once again, that's the Sanguine Pilgrim. If that sounds like you, great. If it doesn't, that's also fine. And if you don't know for sure, don't forget you can still take the free Camino Temperament Quiz in the description below. Like and subscribe so you get the rest of the videos in this series and more tips about preparing for and processing your Camino. I do offer 30-minute coaching sessions if you want to chat about your Camino temperament. You can book that also in the description link. And I do offer coaching for planning and walking and reflecting upon your Camino as well. So hopefully I will see you in the next video and you learned something new in this one. Go ahead and comment below. Like, what are you most excited about for the Camino? Is it the adventure? Is it the people? Or something else? I would love to know. But either way, I will see you in the next video and wish you a buen camino.